Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Oh, welcome in.
Hey! It's Christmas time!
Welcome in, one and all.
And we're at work.
You know, it is championship week.
Yeah.
Gotta be here.
And the NFL's like, can't play football on Wednesday? Mr. Goodell, it's Christmas.
Seems like a good day for football.
Seems like a great day.
There's a deal with Netflix to be made. Oh, look at Deucer's Alley.
Oh, man.
Oh, we got the
Look
hate
at
blockers on.
Look at the
It's that Christmas drip.
man. Yeah, no, you look good. You look like a guy it's his first time.
And Papa Josh remains monochromatic.
Yeah. I mean,
We give
you know what's great is the
Jason-
guy on the left over there. If you're watching on YouTube, that's who I beat in last year's playoffs to win a championship.
yeah.
And then the guy sitting next to him. This is both sides of the betrayal, by the way.
Yes.
So, like,
you're
last year, Papa Josh got his comeuppance, got his butt whooped. I got a trophy. This year, Al, who's been denying his involvement in that,
Is about to win a championship.
somewhere, somehow.
I mean, I guess the truth is about to be seen, right?
Yeah.
You know, ball
Yeah,
don't
ball
lie. So this is one of those situations where we're going to find out if Jeremy was really the problem and a villain in this, or if what he's been saying and all he did is click accept and
Can the ball hold a year-long grudge?
Oh, yeah.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I feel like last year, Al was a little jealous of the, all the attention Papa Josh got, and then Josh got smashed. So we can do that for you.
Nah, that's all right, man.
Um,
Congrats on the dub.
You know what? I'm not playing that game with you. I'm gonna beat you. That's the game. The game is I'm gonna play players.
Is that because
they're gonna score
beat
more
you to
points
it yesterday? You tried to do
Yeah,
it.
you tried to do it.
You tried to
can't
do it.
back
You're
out
doing a
of
double
this.
back. Never double back.
Welcome into a jam-packed Christmas Eve edition of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Thank you for listening on Spotify, on Apple, for your reviews over there. We appreciate them. They help the show out. And for subscribing on YouTube, youtube.com/thefantasyfootballers. We will have is this the final Sunday Live this
Yes.
week? This is the final
Yes.
Sunday Live. Probably another Ultra Triple Tilt
Yep.
edition.
Yeah, that is the hope. And look, week 18ers, we do our best to let you know, like, hey, remember, Fixture League, don't have championship week on the final week of the NFL season. But we do remain here all week long. Like next week, we will be here. Well, we'll have
New Year's Day.
New Year's will be off, so it'll be a very similar schedule to this week. But there will not be a Sunday Live next week.
And we really make no bones about it. It's the worst week for us to do.
Oh,
Week
we
18?
we
gosh,
do
I
it.
hate week 18
We do
so
it
much.
for you, but much in the way that like a parent has to.
Go to a recorder concert?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Like,
It's
you
like,
show up,
we love you. We're going to
Yeah.
support you. What you're doing is stupid.
but we'll be here for you for your recorder concert in week 18. Jointhefoot.com is the community. You get access to the premium Discord and the ultimate dashboard and the bonus episodes of the show. So when we drop down to 2 a week, you get an extra episode over there at jointhefoot.com. I'm not going to spend forever on Monday night. It was 34-0. There was a Pee Wee football team that
You've
showed
already
up in
overdone
Lambeau.
it.
Yeah, I feel like we've
We're
talked about
done.
that game too much. Mike said it perfect before the show when he was talking about the game. Said it was just a waste of time for everybody. And
Yes.
it's so
Everybody.
true. Everybody, every player, every coach, every fan. There were crews that had to record that game. They
People
had to-
paid to be there.
Exactly. What a waste of time.
There was 0 redeemable qualities on the New Orleans side of the football in any capacity. The biggest headline there, and it's adjusted in our waiver rankings, but Kendre Miller's involvement, minimal success, minimal opportunities for success, minimal, and Jordan Mims got the second half. Jacobs did enough in one half. Jaden Reed, 76 yards. Injury once again to Christian Watson,
Dude.
who It's impossible for that dude to stay healthy.
That man is fragile.
Him and Rashad Bateman, they have like they've pooled all of their braces and wraps, and they just share them on a week-to-week basis. Take what you need.
He needs to play in a warm weather environment. Maybe it's just too cold.
Like a Miami?
Tightens it up like a rubber band.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
That's an interesting theory. Let's talk difference makers.
Welcome to Difference Makers, presented by IAMS Pet Food.
We do have waivers on the show today. We also have previews for the 2 Christmas Day games and the Thursday night football games, so it will be a busy one, although our waivers will be quick. It will be brief. It will be the big names. It'll be
only the players that you can actually start in your championship matchup if they're available for you.
That's right. So difference makers, though, I wanted to take a few moments and just walk through a little bit of the fantasy football NFL context for team motivation, playoff scenarios, and what's on the line. Jason and I in the studio yesterday, we took quite a bit of time just kind of walking through the if this, then that scenarios for these teams. The headline at the very tippy top is that most of the playoff teams are still highly motivated. Seeding with the single bye keeps them quite motivated.
That's been a nice change. I think that's made for better late season football, having one bye to play for.
What is more interesting to me is that the disparity in the AFC and NFC, where in the AFC, there aren't any teams recently eliminated. The bad teams in the AFC have been bad for a while, have been eliminated for a while, and so you have a group of basically 5 teams really that are sort of playing for their lives and their playoff lives. The Chargers in Denver are trying to hold on to those final 2 spots, highly motivated. The Chargers are bringing back J.K. Dobbins, and there's a reason to force him back onto the field. You're trying to hang on to your spot. And Indianapolis, Miami, and Cincinnati are hoping some things go south for those teams because they need a couple of losses.
Shockingly still not eliminated. I feel like every week the last month has been like, okay, this team's about to be eliminated, but they've won the games that they needed to win, which means they're all very much playing for their lives.
And since he's playing Denver this week,
yes.
And there's it's a really
they have control over part of that.
It's
story.
a must-win for both of them. But really, Cincinnati, after the way the season started and the way that y'all have fought back for our fantasy football teams,
staying motivated.
Thank you.
Yeah, and one more week, please, Jamar Chase. Let's keep it going. So in the AFC, that's the scenario. The other thing I wanted to touch on, it's part of the game today, Houston, Baltimore. Very, very unlikely that Houston can slip into the 3 seed because what happens here is the division winner for the North, the Steelers or the Ravens, is very, very likely to be that 3 seed. There is a scenario where that happens because Houston plays Baltimore this week, so that is going to even their records up if Houston won. Pittsburgh can very easily lose their last 2 games, Kansas City, Cincinnati, and then Baltimore, I believe, has the tiebreaker over Houston. So they would need – I think they'd need Baltimore to lose against Cleveland in the last week of the season.
That's the issue, is that they're playing Cleveland. So unless they are resting their players or something, you just expect them to be able to walk over the current version of the Cleveland Browns.
I do think it's too early, though, for Houston to not believe that that's possible. I don't think Houston at home on Christmas against Baltimore is going to lay down in any capacity. No. So that's the AFC. And the NFC, what kind of is more troublesome, I think, you have those teams that really, really, really care. They're trying to hang on. Atlanta, the Rams, and Washington trying to hang on to playoff spots. Tampa and Seattle fighting for their lives. Tampa trying to win the division. That's their path into the playoffs. Seattle, same thing. But there were 3 teams last week that were eliminated with the games. That didn't happen in the AFC. Arizona eliminated last week. San Francisco eliminated. Dallas now eliminated. So you start to look at scenarios with James Conner, who we'll talk about in the news. Will he play? Will he not? What's the pride factor there? San Francisco, Isaac Guerrero could be back. He's not really – I don't think they're like, oh, gosh, we got to hold him off for next year. So if he's available, I think he plays. And then Dallas with CeeDee's arm and shoulder situation. Yeah. CeeDee came out and said –
I loved it.
I mean, he basically said, look, the fans pay to see the best wide receiver in the game play football.
Yeah.
Which I loved it. Joe Bryant, great friend of the show, We love you, Joe. He had a wonderful tweet saying that kind of attitude would not fly in the NBA.
Yeah.
Because they like to take their time off in the NBA.
Yeah. Risk management.
So that's kind of the scenarios on both sides. A lot of motivated teams. Some question marks around the freshly eliminated teams in the NFC. But it's nice. You want this. And the one bye helps. And, the fact that you play your championship game a week before Week 18, very important.
Yeah, I mean, this is there's been years in the past where even the week prior to the final week of the season, championship week, there's been like, oh, no. This a handful of important players are really not going to suit up because of motivation. This year it feels pretty darn good. I mean, I think even those names you mentioned, Connor, CD, Garindo, I think if they're able to play, they play this week. So that's great.
Yeah, and I just like how it's worked out in the North with the battle, like Cincinnati's in it. But then Baltimore, like you're talking about the difference between a home game and the 5th seed, this battle with Pittsburgh. So there's a lot on the line. Like Zay Flowers with the shoulder in Wednesday game, he's got to be out there. They have too many injuries. And so very excited about that. Motivation factor is very high. And,
and in the NFC, if you want to talk, it's very similar. You have the Lions and the Vikings who play each other in the final week of the season. And assuming that they both win this week, which right now I think they're favored, that means that one of these two teams would be a 14-win 5th seed on the road.
That's a tragedy.
On the road to start the playoffs, while the other, whoever wins that game, is not only not playing in the first week, but they're at home the entire playoffs. Insane.
And the NFC South might send a sub-10 win team into the playoffs.
And wasn't it last year that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers barely made the playoffs and then won a home game in the playoffs? So, all right, that was Difference Makers presented by IAMS Pet Food. When you choose IAMS, you can see a difference in your pet with your own eyes. Healthy energy in 5 days, healthy digestion in 10 days, and healthy skin and coat in just 25 days. Feed IAMS and see a visible difference.
News and notes from around the league, presented by USAA Insurance.
Well, a lot of you out there, James Conner was a key cog in your semifinal victory, although he was injured and he missed the last quarter and a half. My dear sister, going for her repeat championship, lost by 5 points, lost Conner, and faced Brandon Aubrey. So lost to a 21-point kicker.
Didn't she also have Jalen Hurts?
She also had Jalen Hurts.
Oh, man, that's brutal.
So multiple scenarios to barely lose the game. Connor would have at least scored another 10 to 15 points in that game.
21-point kicker.
21-point kicker. That's why I told her, this is why we don't have them. This is why we don't have
kickers out of your league.
Here's what Jonathan Gannon had to say about James Conner's availability this week.
No, we'll see how he goes throughout the week. You know what I mean? I know he wants to play. So we'll do what's best for him first and then what's best for the team.
So with James Conner, like, I have...
No.
All right, here. Let me do this.
Okay.
Mike, are the Cardinals going to make the playoffs?
We're good. What? No.
We'll do whatever is best for the team.
No.
Sorry, we hate you, Cardinals.
I'm told we're mathematically eliminated.
Here's the thing is that the decision on Conner is it's kind of multifaceted because you have 3 games that happen before the weekend. And there's a lot of flex players in those games, right, where you might be on the edge. Is it a Xavier Worthy, right? There's tough decisions to make there with James Conner. If you can wait through the weekend because you have a better pivot, that's a path you can take. Conner has been really, really good this year.
If you do not have a path based on this news, if there's not a clear one, you'd need to go to the waivers, get someone that you could pivot into. Would you just bench Conner on Wednesday and start someone in that game?
It's really tough. It's a Rams matchup, right? That's a plus matchup for Conner. It's a Saturday night game, so you do get it a day before Sunday if you have Sunday pivot options. It's a divisional game, so you talk about, yes, the Cardinals were eliminated, but you know what they'd love to do? Keep the Rams out of the playoffs. Conner is coming off of a 21, 29, and 26-point game. Like, I don't know if people this is a top 10 running back. So I think in most scenarios, you want to get that guy into your lineup if he says he's going to be active. It's Tuesday. We got Christmas. We got practices. You need to stay glued to that.
The Rams over the last 3 weeks are the 31st most difficult matchup against running backs. The last 3 weeks they played the Buffalo Bills, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Jets.
The easiest team to run on. Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm saying the most.
Oh,
difficult.
they've been staunch.
Yes,
because the Jets, they gave up 9 points to the Jets. They gave up 6 points to the San Francisco 49ers. In the middle there, or not in the middle, but right before that, the Buffalo Bills. That was the shootout. That was the 44-42, and right before that, the Saints scored 14 points. Like, the Rams are, it's hard to know who the Rams are because the
last 3 games,
Saints, 49ers, Jets offense is like those are not
you're
prolific
right.
scoring offenses. It's weird.
Yeah, they were softer.
It's weird
the first 5 weeks
is.
of the year, they were terrible. But you're right; they have kind of. Like, what is your answer to the question? Like, are you trying to play?
I presume because they play on Saturday that most players have a pivot option. You have a handful of. It's not like when you're playing on Sunday night and you've got to have someone in the Monday night football.
But Xavier Worthy, bring the name up. I mean, he's played pretty good. Are you playing him on Christmas?
Are you
playing Zay Flowers over him on Christmas?
As of now, if we don't get any more information, and hopefully, man, that's tomorrow. We're not going to know if James Conner's going to go. I think if I didn't have a later pivot, I would put in a Xavier Worthy over James Conner just because you have to have those points. Now, you've got a perfect situation. I would personally play Xavier Worthy over Jalen McMillan. You have those 2 players. But Jalen McMillan is a good enough, not that big enough a gap where I would absolutely wait on Conner if I could.
Yeah, I like McMillan more this week anyways.
Sure, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if you've got 2 similar options, go ahead and wait. If you don't, and you don't have a good option left on Sunday, then I would throw in my Christmas player.
Do you have any other thoughts on that, Mike? I mean,
No,
it's a tough one.
I'm in agreement.
Okay. All right. We have Chargers opening up the 21-day window for J.K. Dobbins.
From what I have, I mean, we don't know for sure. This does not mean he's going to play, but from everything I've been able to read, beat reporters that I've seen talking about it, the expectation, I believe, is that he's going to play this week. So this is important. We'll talk about it more in waivers as far as where he ranks if he's been dropped. But they need him. This is a very important must-win game.
Yeah, and the Gus Bus just had a big week. He was going to be potentially talked about here during the waiver segment.
Yeah. The running back waivers are difficult with the way that the flow charts are set up right now.
We have Tank Dell diagnosed with dislocated knee, torn ACL, additional damage, probably gone for all of 2025.
Big time bummer.
Deontay Johnson.
Hopefully it's just 2025.
Right. Deontay Johnson was signed by the Texans.
That's a smart waiver pickup. Apparently there were a couple of teams that put in waiver claims on Deontay, but
yeah, because each team wants to find out personally
what the problem is.
Yeah.
Like, we're not sure what the issue is.
Maybe it will work for us.
It was funny, though, because one of the other teams that put in the claim was the Chargers, which is another Harbaugh. You got to think he, like, I don't know, called his brother and was like, dude, should I put in a claim or what?
Yeah, and he was like, totally.
Yeah, you're going to the playoffs, right? We can beat you? Yeah. Pick him up.
Yeah, no, he's great for your locker room.
We have Dorian Thompson-Robinson dealing with a calf injury.
What?
I know, a little tiny hope for your Jerry Jeudy's. And honestly, I'm not sure if Jameis would start if Dorian Thompson wouldn't be there.
So what is their depth chart even? So
it's Bailey.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Zap.
Yeah, it's probably
Crap.
It's probably Bailey.
They want to lose.
Probably not going to have Xavier Legette back out there for the Panthers, so Adam Thielen's still in play. Mike McDaniel said basically, we don't know what it's going to look like for Jalen Waddle. If Waddle misses, you could take a shot with Malik Washington if you're desperate. If you have injuries, he was involved. He played 83% of snaps, had targets. Zay Flowers did not practice on Monday, dealing with a shoulder. Harbaugh said pretty optimistic he'll play. Big game for them. I'd be shocked if Flowers wasn't out there. Shocked.
I agree.
George Pickens.
George.
He's
Georgie Porgy.
Pickens Christmas Day to play.
George.
He's going to play.
Yeah, but I need him to play very well.
And he's going to play well.
Yeah, you're going to play him?
Yeah.
Do you need to?
Yes.
Jerome Ford?
Who's the quarterback? And
So you'd
give
play
him the
Pickens
ball?
over Ford?
Currently, that's how I would do it, yeah.
All right, there you go. That was today's news and notes presented by USAA Insurance. Learn more at usaa.com/insurance. Let's take a break, then we'll hit the waiver wire. All right, it's time. Big names, big week. Waiver time.
Welcome to the Waiver Wire.
Man, I was really having a hard time finding the proper levels of motivation for this back-to-back championship. But now that we've kind of unraveled the double deucer deceit situation, like two deucers.
Now you actually want to win?
Two deucers, twice the deceit, twice the titles for me. I like the way that the script is being written.
I like your confidence.
Yeah. No, I like my confidence too. All right.
I said confidence, but I let go of the mute
Yeah.
button. As I
Oh,
finished
did
the
you?
word.
You weren't pushing the button very confidently.
All right, we will here's our abridged, important only waiver wire segment. Running backs, guys. Tajay Spears, lots of snaps. Dealing with it, and then you got the J.K. Dobbins situation in L.A. You've got the Madison Abdullah in Las Vegas. And you've got the if Connor doesn't play
Right.
situation in Arizona. I can tell you, for me as a Connor manager, I'm going to go with other options than I am the roulette of the backfield of Arizona beyond Connor. Like, I don't want to go. I'm not going to try to get – like, Benson's hurt.
Benson is
If
hurt.
he plays, he will be a committee back. There is no question. The Cardinals made Connor a committee back to their own demise this past week. There's no way Benson gets more work than Connor.
I agree. If Benson is active, it makes everyone a sketchy start. We just brought up that the Bills have been shutting people down recently. If he doesn't play, though, Michael Carter should have a backfield pretty much to himself, and he could volume his way to
DJ Dallas.
Yeah, I mean DJ Dallas.
If you want to try to win with Michael Carter, go ahead.
I don't. I'm just saying. But I guess my point is, I view like if you are in the situation where you got to pick one of those guys up, I would rather pick up
Carter's your guy.
I would rather pick up Carter because I do not expect Benson to play, and if Benson does, he'll be in a definite committee.
And like Alexander Madison, you would play him over. Yeah,
no,
okay.
no, I would play Alexander Madison.
Yeah,
first. Yes.
yeah. I would play Madison over not James Conner, but over the remaining Cardinals should Connor miss.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid that backfield too. Madison, Abdullah.
Tajay Spears to me is the
if they don't score a touchdown, if those two guys, neither of them score a touchdown, you're doomed. Those games
Madison?
you're doomed for both of them. I mean, Abdullah had the better week, more efficient, had the touchdown, had the better passing game numbers. So, Madison looked terrible, fell into the end zone.
That's kind of what he's looked like all
No,
year.
I know.
though.
I'm just saying, like, that's the gamble you're playing with those two guys is either one could score, and
the nice thing is they're playing against that Saints team. You know what I mean? The Saints are so bad that I think they're
I'd rather play Kareem Hunt than any of those names. I'd rather take the chance on the better team where he's looked better, where he's gotten into the end zone. That if I'm betting on a touchdown for any of those guys, I'm betting on Kareem Hunt.
That's fair. I don't think that's a bad process at all. The two guys I have at the top would be, and they are probably rostered. Tajay Spears is rostered in 57% of leagues. So, but there's still a lot of leagues out there he's available. He's number one because Tony Pollard is super banged up, keeps trying to play through it and get those incentives. He hasn't. The matchup against Jacksonville is perfect. It's the type of game where you could throw a backup in championship week and have a 2-touchdown game.
Yeah,
He's been
I
doing
agree.
it. He's been a running back one the last 2 weeks on the back of touchdown. So Tajay Spears, I think he's a great play. And then Dobbins, who's even more rostered.
Oh, man.
But if he was dropped and is active for this game, I'd fully expect if he's active after the month off, he is the starter that he was when he left. They need him. I know Gus
I
finally
wish you
looked
wouldn't have
okay.
said the part where he's the starter that you want when he left.
Well, I'm saying that workload, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got
I'd be
Spears.
scared.
I got Spears at the top, and then I would play Madison over Dobbins.
Yeah, and Kendrick Miller has fallen out of consideration for me.
Unfortunately.
The Vegas matchup's good, but
I mean, Kendre Miller or Michael Carter.
I mean, if no Benson and no Connor, I'd play Michael Carter for sure.
Okay.
For sure. He'll catch passes.
And we do have
he had
more
5 targets, 5 catches in the game with Connor.
Yeah, there might be people out there in a championship matchup that are like, I have to ride super dirty. We have more waiver names on the Waiver Wire tool on the website, so you can go to jointhefoot.com and look at who's available in your league for deeper settings. But for the most part, we're talking about only the guys that you can really play in a championship here.
4 names at wide receiver to mention. Jalen McMillan, 50% rostered. I love him this week. He has been just an outstanding wide receiver, 19.9 fantasy points, 16, 14 the last 3 weeks, 7 targets, 6 targets, 7 targets, 4 touchdowns in 3 weeks, playing Carolina. Carolina's been able to move the football. That's what you hope for in this Tampa game.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina putting up points against Tampa. I think they can do it. Tampa's defense has struggled. You want a shootout. You want 300 yards from Baker, and there's just – look, it's Mike Evans, and it's Jalen McMillan. Shepard's hurt. Otten's hurt. You know, it's going to be Jalen McMillan to some floor, in my opinion, this week. I'm pretty excited about him.
Yeah,
it took me a while, brother, but these last 3 weeks I've been Mr. McMillan.
You've been on him, and the truth is we've seen this play out for really good players in the past, where their rookie season it took a couple injuries in front of them, and then they got the opportunity and they did something great with it later in the season. We saw that with Amon-Ra St. Brown in his rookie year, and that was obviously to a much greater degree. But these guys, I like that you're essentially calling your shot here, Andy, because if the next 2 weeks he puts basically 4-star weeks together, we're going to go into next year thinking of Jalen McMillan as someone, that needs to be drafted high, and yet right now we're only 2 weeks in. So you've got to call your shot. You got to say he's going to do it a 3rd week in a row, or he's not. You're saying he is. You actually said before the show that you want to play Jalen McMillan over James Conner if he's active. So that's I don't. You can change your mind on that, but that's what you said. So that's kind of how bullish you are on McMillan in this really perfect matchup.
Yeah, I love him this week. I loved what I saw in film from Hollywood Brown. To me, they obviously limited his work, but when he was on
snaps,
yes, his snaps. When he was on the field, they drew up plays for him, and I thought he looked great. You got to remember, Brown's injury was not to his legs. His explosiveness is the same. He's 27. He's got Patrick Mahomes. They are desperate for targets. He got 8 targets last week in limited snaps.
27% of snaps, 8 targets.
He looks, to me, he looked the best of the receivers last week when I watched the film. It's a weird, hilarious wide receiver room there because you have the kind of recombination of Hopkins Hollywood from the days in Arizona. Hollywood looks good to me. He's a sneaky desperation play. If you want a touchdown play and you just hope you get the big one because you got to get the big one with him, but Rashad Bateman against Houston, that would be your desperation play. And then I mentioned it, Malik Washington played a bunch of snaps for Miami.
In week 10, Rashad Bateman caught a touchdown, had a great week. The next week, no touchdown, bad week. The next week, touchdown, green. The next week, red. This is very Christmassy. The next time he played, 2 touchdowns, then a down week. We're back to green, baby. Christmas, ho, ho, ho.
Well, he did score last week, though.
I will say that
he still scored.
The reason he's on this list is because there's not a ton of players that are widely available on waivers where you can really take a shot and say 80 and a touchdown is totally reasonable.
Yes, it is.
Totally reasonable.
A little bit like Jameson Williams.
Yeah.
If you had Lamar Jackson, would you play Bateman or would you play McMillan?
I think I would go for the shot of Bateman there because you're stacking together and championship week. And some of it depends on, are you a super favorite or are you an underdog? Like if I'm an underdog, I would throw Bateman in there and hope that if Bateman has one of his good games, it correlates with Lamar, doubles up my scoring opportunity.
And Nelson Aguilar may miss again, so
Jalen McMillan,
helps with snaps.
Last 3 weeks, wide receiver 11, better than A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, Jameson Williams, Devontae Smith, Malik Neighbors. He's been
touchdowns will
on
do that.
fire. It's because Baker is he's such a volume quarterback. So you talk about who do you want to play in those weeks? Some confident quarterback receiver combinations. At tight end, Chigakonkwo.
Yeah, there's one.
Yeah, end the list.
That's who you want.
He's still available in 91% of leagues. He is out there, and the 9% he is rostered in, I am pretty positive, are the people listening to this show. So you've either already got him or you can go get him.
If you want to go beyond Okonkwo, which you shouldn't, I think Dalton Schultz is the sneakiest play. You have lost Diggs. You've lost Dell. You will not have Deontay out there. And Dalton Schultz had 8 targets last week. That's the play to me beyond Chigakonkwo. It's Okonkwo and Schultz.
I'd go Hunter over Dalton Schultz.
And I would go Zach
Hunter
Ertz
Henry.
over Schultz. But, I mean, the nice thing about this is we're all saying Chigakonkwo is the play. The matchup is there. The utilization is there. Everything is great for it. And it's not one of those names where it's like, well, Chig's on Chig is available. Go get him.
Yeah. And
Chig is someone that,
no,
I mean, would you be playing Chig or Kelsey?
Chig.
I've seen that question a lot.
I mean, it's
on Twitter.
a legitimate I mean, Travis Kelsey has just been terrible. In the last game, the eyeball test was like, whoa, out of sync. Like, I've never seen Mahomes and Kelsey out of sync, turning the wrong ways, not being in the right spot of a zone. You've got a lot of players here where even like David Njoku, we don't know who the quarterback is right now.
And
or
he's
if
also banged up.
If it's DTR, would you play him over David Njoku? Would you play him over Hawkinson, who kind of has been disappearing?
I would. Yeah, I think Okonkwo is like it's 10 targets and 11 targets. Those are tight ends don't get those types of numbers,
and the perfect matchup,
and the matchup is there, and it's still Mason. Like I would play Okonkwo over a lot of tight ends this weekend.
I've got him
despite
as my
like if when you're clicking him in like over Kelsey, I get it. That's going to feel real yucky.
Yeah, you got to make the decision. We're just saying if it was my decision, I would put Okonkwo in there. He's my tight end 6 on the week.
Okay. And I can tell you right now, beyond Okonkwo, I think Schultz will be my start of the week at tight end.
Okay.
Nice. I mean, do it 2 times in a row, brother.
I feel really, really confident about Dalton Schultz. He's been the tight end 7 and 4, 2 out of the last 3 weeks anyways, and now no Tank Dell. You just don't – I mean, who are you going to throw the ball to? Nico's there. Oh, Robert Woods?
The Ravens?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Ravens are 31st against the pass. Defenses you like. Talk to me.
Defenses I like against.
Sorry, I was on a different page.
Yeah, we both were. The Colts, they're playing against the Giants, who are as good a matchup as you can get. Drew Lock is so bad, and the Giants team they've just imploded. I also think the Dolphins defense is actually a good defense, and they're playing against Cleveland with maybe a banged up DTR or a Bailey Zappi. Even if it's Jameis, like Jameis is the one weird quarterback where it's like, I don't mind if my defense gives up 30 NFL real points. They're still going to score a ton because Jameis is going to pick 6 a couple times.
Did you guys watch the game last night?
No.
I mean, we kind of have to.
I watched a little bit of it and I was like, no, I'm not doing this.
It's the Raiders defense is the play to me. New Orleans is capped on what they're capable of doing. And the Raiders have made it very clear, Antonio Pierce has made it very clear, they don't give a crap about losing the number 1 pick. They're going to play this.
He's not going to be there.
They're going to play this season out as hard as they can. The Raiders last week, they played Jacksonville, had a good week.
And you got
they gave up 14 points to Jacksonville, and now you got Spencer Rattler and Kendre Miller to worry about?
I would throw the Chargers in there as well.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Chargers are another one of those good defenses. That's the thing is like the Raiders defense isn't good. The Dolphins defense is good. The Chargers defense is good. Both have very good matchups. The Chargers playing for their lives against Drake May and the Patriots.
That one is on the road.
Almost all of these. Every defense this week that we like, the Colts, the Dolphins, the Raiders, the Chargers, they're all on the road.
Yeah.
The Saints on the other side of the Raiders, okay, like they're at home and it's a bad matchup and whatever, but they're
Get
just
scared of short fields, man.
Yeah, I know. Really,
Get scared of short fields. All right, we'll take a break, then we'll hit the streamers. All right, just in case Jalen Hurts isn't there.
Full stream ahead.
Jason has Bo Nix. Mike has Anthony Richardson against the Giants, and I have Matthew Stafford. If I was putting them in order, there it is. That'd be my order. Bo Nix, Richardson, Stafford.
Yeah, that's how
if I was without Jalen Hurts.
We are unanimous. That Denver-Cincinnati Bengals game is must-win for both. They're gonna do everything in their power. I think it'll be a back-and-forth game. The Bengals just give up so many points, and Bo Nix has been scoring points. He's been running. He'll run in this game. Anthony Richardson against the Giants. You could have 3 rushing touchdowns, and the Cardinals suck for Stafford. So that's the order.
Okay. Well, we'll move on to Christmas Day football.
You mean ChristmasFootball.com?
ChristmasFootball.com football.
Oh, I love ChristmasFootball.com. I use that website literally every single day, and that's not even a lie.
Do we normally have a drop for this?
We
For
don't normally
Christmas
have
Day
Christmas.
football?
Yeah.
We have a website for it.
Yeah.
We don't have a drop, but we own a domain.
You gotta get out there, man. You gotta snatch those things up. It's like real estate. It's only so many.
Well, as we made it very vocal, this is where we make all our money.
Yeah.
On Christmas
On
football?
domains.
On domain.
Oh,
Domains.
yeah.
ChristmasFootball.com, ChristmasFootball.biz,
Look, NFL. It's available.
Netflix. It's available.
Oh.
I mean, Netflix.
You know what?
Whatever. You know what? Highest bidder.
Netflix might want that.
Yeah, we'll take highest bidder.
You know what I mean? This is supposed to be – they're really driving it home. This should be a new tradition.
Dude.
Netflix Christmas. Netflix, you need ChristmasFootball.com.
I mean, Christmas football's a thing. You
Yeah.
want ChristmasFootball.com.
Whoever owns that,
Mr. and Mrs. Netflix.
Mr. and Mrs.
We
Netflix.
have ChristmasFootball.com.
Kansas City, 14-1. Jerks.
Oh, man.
At Pittsburgh, 10-5. DraftKings Sportsbook line is Kansas City minus 2.5. Over under 43.5.
Thank you, Kenny Pickett. Play in this game. Or George Pickens. Kenny Pickett. George Pickens playing in this game changes so much. It was kind of the opposite of what we talked about last week. Him not playing really felt like it hurt the potential upside. Their offense, the Steelers need George Pickens so much.
How much?
I mean,
So
it doesn't.
I
work.
agree.
It doesn't work without him because they're, the Calvin Austin, I think, is a decent wide receiver
he's
3 who
shown
can
that
stretch
he's
the field and
pretty decent. Yeah.
he's not bad. Mike Williams at this stage, of his career and injury history, can again get down on the side of the field, but the defense can handle those guys no problem. They need an alpha, they need a 1, and George Pickens has been so good this season. I think it's great news, even if you're playing Chiefs players, that Pickens is in this game.
So Pickens is in. Does that then? How do you feel about the running backs for Pittsburgh? Because the last 2 weeks for Najee, if you've been playing Najee in the playoffs and you're alive, it's not because of Najee,
No.
who has scored a combined 7 points in 2 games.
First of all, you're talking to nobody. Second of all, you couldn't convince someone to put Najee in for the 3rd time. I just don't think that's possible.
But it's okay. So Najee's out. Is Jalen Warren a flex option? A flex level player?
Jalen.
He passed your almighty bar last week.
He did get.
He got
past
10 plus.
points.
You talking about the Warren line?
Yeah.
The Warren line is 10 points.
Right. The Warren line's 10 points. I think against Kansas City, he's not going to get it. They're the number 1 defense against running backs. I'm benching both running backs.
And just to speak to the other side with Xavier Worthy and the performances of late, I do think that he is more complicated than just riding a couple of good games. He scored on the ground 2 weeks ago. He scored last week. His yardage is not prolific. It's important to note that, like 41, 46. Last week was good. It was 65 yards. I do think Hollywood will be more involved. I do think that you're more in the Bateman territory with Worthy than I think you might believe.
Yeah, I agree with that. The reason you don't believe that is because of the back-to-back 11 targets. So you feel a little safer.
Correct, that's true.
Targets are wonderful. It's like, okay, he's very involved in the offense. He's playing the 3 weeks in a row, even with Hollywood back, 80% of snaps. So this is a full-time player who's out there getting a bunch of targets, who's a rookie with speed, who also has, as many touchdowns as he's got to be top 5 in the NFL in total offensive touchdowns.
Yeah, they show
at the wide receiver position.
and when they they take those lists of like, okay, if let's flip it upside down. Teams that lost one-score games, if they had won every one-score game, it's like Xavier Worthy, if he had hit on any of these near misses, like he has to be at 10+. 1 foot stopped him from scoring a touchdown.
Yeah, either into the sideline on accident because he couldn't get his feet down, or a misplay over the top. His catch rate,
wild.
His catch rate's 57%.
Yeah, that's not normal with Patrick Mahomes.
He's also got a yards per catch of 11. So to have a 57% catch rate with 11
it should be
yard
higher.
per catch, you think of him as, I'm going to be a burner. No, they run him in the screen game. They run him in the short stuff, and they try to get him loose.
He's a wild card that I think is worth.
He's flexible.
Yeah.
Flex worthy.
Nice.
Are you telling me to do it?
Oh, crap.
Okay, you heard it here. Flex Xavier Worthy.
All right, Emphysema. Kareem Hunt. We talked about him earlier. He's looked better than Pacheco. I'd be scared out of my mind to play Pacheco. I definitely would want Hunt over him just because I think I'm looking for the end zone. Like Kareem Hunt's always a threat for 2 touchdowns.
They're both
terrifying.
They could. There is a world where both of them do literally nothing.
Let's talk about the best game ever.
Ever?
Baltimore 10-5. Houston
Oh.
9-6. The DraftKings Sportsbook line: Baltimore -5.5. Over under is 46.5. Al, I'm gonna make a invitation. You want to come over 2:30 in the afternoon, Christmas Day, and sit down and watch this game with me?
Absolutely not.
No?
Nope.
You don't like the fact that I got Lamar and Flowers on one side, Nico and Mixon on the other. What could happen?
I just don't want to see you sit there whining when your guys
Oh.
underperform.
Well, look, it's going to be is a fun one. 46.5 point over under.
Al could die during that game.
Al?
On Christmas.
On Christmas.
It is cruel.
You could literally murder Owl.
Is it murder if he dies from his own insecurities?
No.
I guess not.
That's he
Manslaughter.
He was manslaughtered by Lamar Jackson. He would be charged. Lamar's playing outrageous football. I don't think the MVP race is over, personally.
That's fair.
I think that there's enough time left for
My
him to
ticket
have.
stubs like hearing that.
Did you
Oh,
take
do
the
you
plus
got-
400 on Lamar?
I got him a long time ago, brother.
Higher than that then?
Yeah.
I still think he's got a shot at it. He's on pace for 4,342 with another 867 on the ground. Both of these defenses are pretty great. Baltimore has clamped it down. So, fantasy points given up, all the major metrics, the last 6 weeks, the Ravens have really improved. The Texans have been soft against wideouts all season long. That'll be, potentially good news for Flowers and Bateman. Nelson Aguilar is hurt. Mark Andrews keeps catching touchdowns, and I think Isaiah Likely here and there will be sprinkled into this offense. Derrick Henry last week kind of had a return to greatness after a little bit of a disappointing performance against the Giants. I mean, this game is really me telling you the players on the teams is not helpful, and you're starting all the good ones.
Yeah. The question is, could this turn into a defensive?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
I don't think so either.
It could turn in.
I think
It could go one-sided.
yes. I think Baltimore could end up potentially crushing the Texans. I'm
Yes.
not calling for that. The fact that this game is in Houston is very valuable and helpful for the Texans. But the Ravens defense, if you look at them over the course of the season, they're average. Because at the beginning of the season, this was a defense we targeted. But over the last 6 weeks, they're top 3 against quarterbacks, number 2 against wide receivers, top 10 against tight ends. They're a very difficult defense, which is more like the Baltimore Raven way. They've figured some things out. And
They haven't been giving up more than 18 to 20 points since that Cincinnati game.
Yes.
And it's up to Stroud. It's
CJ
up
Stroud
to
just hasn't looked. He hasn't looked like the promise of his rookie season. You lose Tank Dell.
I don't really like. I feel like that. I don't feel like Stroud has played bad football.
You think it's more play calling and opportunity?
I think it's play calling. I think it's missed plays here and there. It was an injury to Nico for part of the season. Like, this is a playoff team, and I think Stroud has done okay. Fantasy wise, we've been really let down, and that has impacted, I think, a lot of how we view him. He's obviously not had a prolific type of year, but the play calling has been horrific. They've leaned on Mixon more, which I don't hold against Stroud.
I don't either. But it's like his yards per attempt down over a full yard from his rookie year.
Yeah.
He went from 5 interceptions his rookie year to 11 so far.
He's down 4 touchdowns. And that's the same exact games played. Like he played 15 as a rookie, 15 this year. Yeah, the numbers are
but
his
you're
story
right, it
last
might
year
be.
wasn't a lot of fantasy greatness.
No,
it was
correct.
speckled in, but mostly managing a team that wins games.
But in the I'm not looking at game logs. This is just the season. But in 15 games last year, he threw the ball 499 times. 15 games this year, 495 times. So like, they're leaning on Mixon, but the raw numbers are very similar, except production is way down.
Well, I like Dalton Schultz this week. If the game script you guys are talking about comes to fruition, which the Baltimore Ravens are heavily favored, you're talking just about what's the easiest pass rush protective target. It's going to be Schultz.
Would you go
for
Schultz
the cheapies.
or Isaiah Likely?
I'd go Schultz.
If Schultz has 10 receptions, can he cross 50 yards?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Thank
Barely.
goodness.
Yeah, he'll cross it very, very slowly.
It's
Dude,
funny
he looks
for
so
that,
slow.
Are you guys watching it now?
This is what's funny about you
His
calling your
shoes are
shot
tied together, man.
on Schultz is that I don't remember the last time on Sundays, watching football, a player has made you more viscerally angry when it doesn't matter. Like,
yeah.
You just every time Schultz has the ball, you're like, he's so slow.
Yeah, it just bugs me. I don't feel like he was this slow.
Like when you're watching a monster movie and the monster's gigantic but so it looks like it's moving so slow. That's how Dalton moves.
But
he's not gigantic.
He's the non-Chig sneaky play for me this week.
Okay.
That I feel really good about. Seattle at Chicago is the Thursday night game. The last one we'll preview today before we head into Christmas. 8-7 Seattle, 4-11 Chicago. The DK Sportsbook line, Seattle -3.5. The over/under is 43.5. Seattle must win. They got to win. Caleb Williams in Chicago don't know how to win. But Keenan Allen's been really good under Waldron.
Yeah, he has.
Or since the change. Yeah.
Since Shane Waldron left.
Yes. Yeah. Since the departure, since the jettisoning of the head coach and the offensive coordinator. But I mean, he's been the wide receiver 9, 5, 55, 15 and 2.
Wow. So I don't know how I missed this. I'm looking at the show doc and I see that the Bears are 4-11.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, wait a minute. They're 4-11. Weren't they like 4-2?
Yeah, something like that.
They were 4-2, had their bye week, and have lost every game since. I mean, that's what? That's insane. I didn't realize that they have not won this many games in a row.
Watching Caleb Williams right now is difficult because he, like, by the end of the game, he's giving you production, but it's just watching him in the pocket when the first read is covered up, he freaks out. Oh!
Breaking news.
What? What are we? Breaking
Put
news.
the camera over here.
Oh, no.
On this one.
Uh-oh.
The Jets, this 2 minutes ago, they are uncertain about the playing status of quarterback Aaron Rodgers this week due to knee injury.
Oh, man. And Owl, do you have any reason that matters to you?
I do have Devontae Adams.
Okay. How does that make you feel inside?
You said they're uncertain?
Yeah, uncertain.
That's how it makes me feel as well.
Okay. So, he just, I noticed he switched his status in sleeper, and breaking news 2 minutes ago, uncertain about his playing status with a knee injury.
Okay.
How would that make you feel about Mike?
Garrett.
Hold on. Mike is also worried because
Yeah.
he's got Garrett Wilson in his lineup.
Yeah.
Tyrod Taylor? Anybody?
Hey, look.
You will not have a peppering of targets to the Aaron Rodgers capacity with Tyrod Taylor. You could still have big plays.
But maybe Taylor likes Garrett Wilson more than Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers seems to hate him recently.
You mean Devontae Adams?
No, Garrett Wilson. He's not throwing him the ball.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And, like,
Yeah.
did you see Garrett after the game? Dude, Garrett is
Unhappy?
he is not pleased.
He's never been happy
Yeah.
since he arrived in New York.
That's
that
why.
poor soul, man.
But
Yeah.
that's why he arrived in New York.
Yeah,
to the
he's on the
Jets.
Jets.
If I were Garrett Wilson, I would force a trade.
That's kind of that's what people are alluding to.
Isn't he on the edge of fifth-year situation? He's the Drake London year. So he could do this. He could get out. And I would get out.
Yeah, if you can, get out.
Yeah. So back to this matchup. Ken Walker didn't practice. He's hurt.
Yeah.
Zach Charbonnet still limited. People, they need to understand Zach Charbonnet missed practices last week. And there was a point during the week where Walker was further ahead than Charbonnet. That was the report. So because of that, Charbonnet got limited work in the game even after Walker's injury. Kenny McIntosh involved.
But Charbs was listed as limited.
Yes.
So
This is
That's
This
good.
is gross for championship week.
I agree, but it's at least that's somewhat good news to be
Like if
listed
Sharp
as
is
limited.
active, are you just playing him?
I think so.
Yeah.
Assuming that Walker is out, I think Charbonnet is a good play.
Yeah, I
the
agree.
Bears' rush defense has not been good. They're 26th against running backs.
Dude, I'm scared. I did not like what I saw happening last week with an active Charbonnet that they could still barely use. I mean, he had one carry.
He had 3 opportunities.
Yeah. I'm not saying you're wrong. You could be right. He could be fine this week, but I don't like the precedent that has already been set of he can be active and do nothing.
When
They needed him. They needed him in that game.
Right, but my read of that would be that he was missing all that time, and so the game plan was it's Kenny Walker and Kenny McIntosh because that's what we practiced. Those are the plays that we set up and ran.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
the
they
nice
lost
thing
by
is
3 points. I mean, they needed him.
The nice thing is one carry this last week for Charbonnet means that he did not exacerbate that injury. He should have a little bit of time to heal up.
Yeah, I mean, if Ken Walker's out and Charbonnet is practicing in full, you've got yourself a starter.
Yep.
DJ Moore has not done what Keenan Allen has done of late. He makes you nervous. In fact, what's more bothersome to me, DJ Moore has pieced together relevant fantasy weeks. What is bothersome is it's all in just annoying fashion. It's not in, like, down the field. Every time Caleb threw the ball down the field last week, it was Keenan Allen or Rome Odunze. And then here's little screen Jay Moore.
Yes.
Like, why are we doing this? Why are we not giving him deep opportunities?
He's forcing his way over 10 points. Over the last
5 of 6 games.
Over the last 5 5 games, he's been very startable in 4 of them. And you can back that up to 6. 5 of the last 6. It's just don't watch it. Don't watch it because we're out now. But Jason and I have been playing DJ Moore, and it's like I'm watching these games, and I'm like freaking out of why DJ Moore is getting absolutely nothing. And then I look at the log at the end. I'm like, what? DJ Moore had 10 points? You don't need that stress in your life.
Yeah, but Keenan Allen, on the other hand, he seems like someone that you really want to play.
Yeah.
I mean, the last 5 games, 86 yards, 73 yards, 30 was a down game, 82, 141. And during those games, 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns, 1 touchdown, 1 touchdown. He is the #1 wide receiver for this new offense with Caleb Williams. And Caleb Williams, I know what you're saying, Mike, when you say you watch him and it's frustrating. He's got a lot of rookie
awful
play.
to watch.
But I also see I actually enjoy watching it. I totally get what you're saying, but he's shown me a lot of I believe in his future completely. I haven't watched Caleb and said this guy can't get it done. He looks like a rookie struggling with rookie things with a lot of tools that are working. And in the end, I mean, he's been putting up, pretty large counting stats.
Where are you with Metcalf this week?
I'd still play him.
I would prefer to pivot away. The Bears' defense is pretty good against wide receivers. JSN is still the one for this offense.
You're going to need the one big play.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to need the touchdown, and I don't know if it comes against the Bears.
Like, would you play Devontae Smith?
Yes.
Assuming it's Kenny Pickett.
Ooh. You got you like jabbed, and then there was the right hook.
Clearly you didn't remember that Hurts has a concussion. That's where I'm saying, like, DK Metcalf, he's a wide receiver 3 type.
Yeah, and I guess that's probably where Devontae Smith moves if Kenny Pickett is in.
Like Darnell Mooney with Michael Penix.
I would play Mooney. Mooney looked good with Penix.
Okay.
Man, you know what I realized?
Tell us.
I'm going to watch Die Hard tonight.
Yeah?
Okay, fantastic. Making Mike happy.
I like to hear it.
Have you watched it this season, Mike?
I have not.
That's very off-brand.
It's
Want to come over?
Normally, it's the Christmas wrapping movie, but we wrapped on Sunday, and I had to watch that Sunday night game. There was too much at stake.
I'm planning on wrapping from about
Oh gosh. You know
10
what?
p.m. to about 4 a.m.
That's the usual for me and my household as well.
The usual for Jason. I know that.
It's every year, yeah.
You should live stream your rapping
Oh, no, man.
for
That'll
6
be
hours
so boring.
Oh, no.
with sip after sip of whiskey.
Yeah, there'll be too much whiskey and too much just
Have
me
you
in my
ever had-
underwear.
Have you ever had the kids come in to the room on Christmas morning while you're rapping and just take in the
Like,
presents?
no, you got to
right
go
after-
back to sleep. I'm not done rapping.
We got another one ready. Just hand it out the door. See you in 5 minutes.
Oh my god!
I'm so slow at rapping.
Oh,
I believe that.
It's unbelievable.
Do they look good at the end?
Very good.
Oh,
I can
yeah.
do an excellent job
I am
rapping.
the opposite. I am so fast at
Yeah,
rapping,
yeah.
and mine look like butts.
Yeah, dude.
You just literally get a big sheet, bend it
Oh,
over,
dude.
twist it.
Dude, I had I forget how to rap every single year, and then I was handed a fresh roll that it was double-sided. So I didn't have my grid.
Oh, you want that for the straight lines?
I undercut 5 pieces, and that they had to turn into something else. So that gift now has about 3x too much wrapping paper
I'm
on
surprised you didn't just cut like a little strip extra and like cover
I do
it.
that.
I've done that.
Oh, my
I do that crap and I hide it on the bottom.
Dude, you guys.
I have Frankenstein so many
Brother,
packages.
Brother, I've done such a bad job rapping. I'm not asked to participate anymore.
Oh, that's the problem. Well, that's
and
how
I
it is
didn't
with,
do it on purpose. I just tried my best.
That's how it is with me with speed. It's like you just go and do something else because I can rap 30 presents at the time. You rap 2. And so but I've still got to like
I'm in charge of carrying them.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I got to do the
I
setup.
got to do the move.
Yeah.
I got to move them from the hidden closet.
All right. Well, I got to start rapping pretty soon.
All right. Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. Enjoy the holiday. We will not be with you tomorrow. But some of these big questions we brought up, let's just be honest. We're not going to know more information until we get into Thursday, Friday, heading into the weekend. Stuff like Charbonnet, Connor, and we'll keep you posted. And congrats to everybody that's made it through. That's a hard thing to do.
It is.
And there's a lot of you that
And every single person in this room has done it, right? Josh, did you get you did. You got in on your Toe Clan League.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Look at
congrats.
that. Good for us. And the Falcon we said he can't be here this week because I assume he's not in a championship.
Yeah, and he doesn't come to work very much.
Right. He's probably on the toilet right now.
Enjoy the holiday, everybody. Thanks for following along. Enjoy the families. We'll catch you Thursday.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.